Welkom beste mensen bij weer een uitzending van Eemland on the Move. We hebben hoog bezoek vandaag hier in het Leerhotel. Jose, welcome.
Thank you so much.
What is your full name? I didn't dare to pronounce that.
Well, my full name is Jose Miguel Gorrotxategi Polo. We have long names in Spain, and I have a Basque first last name.
You are a Basque first name. Okay, the north of Spain. That's where the majority of rugby is played in Spain, or
now,
close to France.
It was a very stronghold in the old days because it was very close to France, but now rugby is very much spread across the whole country, and you have 2 or 3 big hubs in Madrid, in Catalonia and in Valencia, with in Andalusia having a lot of teams
really cool.
Playing there.
So it's really growing, I guess. And you guys are doing pretty well, actually. You now, you did qualify for the World Cup, did you?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
That's correct.
Painful, but we didn't. But that's now your job, right? So
yes.
You're Spanish astray because you came from Poland to us.
That's correct. I was my last job was to work as a sports director for 3 years in the Polish Rugby Union.
Okay. And what made you jump ship to come to the Netherlands?
Well, as I said on my job interview, when the position came up, anyone that works in this business would be silly not to actually try to go for it. Netherlands has been one of the most exciting unions in the last years. There's been a lot of interesting things happening here. The union has grown very much, not only in volume, but also in quality. And when the opportunity came up, I had to apply.
You had to go for it. So well, you're now here how long?
Almost 2 months.
Almost a month. So there's a lot of new stuff coming.
Still learning.
Still learning. So what did you set yourself as a task up front, and not knowing too much because you're still probably in your honeymoon period to gathering information?
That's the number one task. I had some. Luckily, I was working for Rugby Europe and World Rugby before, so I had a chance to come to the union many times for the last 10 years. I even met previous people that are no longer in the union, so I had some knowledge about how things were done. I followed the union because it was my job when I was in Rugby Europe. But my first task, once I got the job, was to get a much better understanding of how things are working, but more particularly why are things working that particular way. Because any assessment that I have to make has to be with the information about what is happening and why it's happening that way.
And this is just generic questions, right? So I'm wondering how the process goes. But so you're set as a technical director, right? But you also have a target probably set for you, or a task up front, because you work together with Rugby Europe, right? So
that's correct.
So Rugby Europe is involved in you. To help me out there, what's the process? Is that something that is a very big push, or is it really locally? I don't know.
In which way do you mean?
Well, what we know is that Rugby Europe or Rugby World sometimes really puts funds into countries, and therefore push that and say, okay, now it's necessary that this person comes into the Netherlands.
So I can give you a hand with that to understand, because I know there is a lot of misconceptions of that. So Rugby Europe, the regional federation, is heavily funded by World Rugby, and they have limited amounts of funds to distribute among the members. So Rugby Europe organizes the European competitions and also provides services to the European unions, but to a very limited extent. They don't have a lot of maneuvering funds to be able to support heavily the unions in Europe. And then World Rugby, which is the mothership, so to speak, they have a lot more funding. That funding comes from the World Cup, most likely, men mainly, but now the Women World Cup also seems to be a bit profitable, which is great. So the money they make every 4 years is distributed in pots of 4 years. I'm generalizing a bit, so bear with me.
Make it simple.
And then they fund, or they have some pots and some projects where they can find specific unions where they believe there's going to be an exciting union that they can support towards the World Cup. Or because they want to increase the capabilities of that union, because they want to make the union more competitive, because they are at the verge of being good, and they want to increase the quality of that domestic competition. So the funding coming from World Rugby comes with some conditions. Those conditions can be that you have to have a certain number of people in place. Those conditions have to be that you have to play at a central level. But normally they intervene in selection processes, but they don't recommend you have to hire this person. They say, look, we're going to help you in the process. And actually in my job interview, there was personnel from World Rugby present, and they also asked questions and they were involved in that. But to the extent that I know, they don't push the unions to say you have to hire this person. They give recommendations, but they give the freedom to the boards to make the final call.
So, and just coming back, so World Rugby is involved in developing rugby in the Netherlands a little bit.
That is correct. So through the Training and Education Department, with different projects like T1, which is participation purely, or the delivery of courses like level 1, 2, referee, coaching. Those are products from World Rugby that we deliver here, all the way to high performance and certain fundings that goes to the women 15s or to the men 15s. World Rugby is involved in supporting Rugby Netherlands.
Got it. Okay. So we started the conversation that this is an opportunity too good to pass on. So you wanted to jump on. What is it that you see as potential and where we could go up front?
Well, there's a number of things, but what I would say the union has done quite remarkably well in the past years is to put a system where you can start giving quality trainings to kids on their pathway towards seniors. And that has been somehow coordinated centrally through the academies. People here have been really ingenious about creating a system that is quite good. It's pros and cons, of course, but for a number of years, a lot of kids have been working through this academy system, going through regular rugby, getting quality coaching sessions throughout 4, 5, 6 years, and that has impacted very positively the work in the under 18s and under 20s. There's been a strength and conditioning plan in place to help upscale massively the way we're now working with those kids. They're introducing now mental coaching, which is helping us a lot to help those kids to understand what they really want, and also not just to expose them to high performance raw, but to help them to understand the commitment and to the family. So there's been a lot of really interesting things that are helping us to develop better players consistently. And I think a proof of that is the amount of Dutch players that are now playing abroad in actually either professional or semi-professional leagues. So that is a product of the work that has been done from the clubs to the academies with the coordination of Rugby Netherlands. Again, I wouldn't say it's perfect, and I think many people would agree, but very few people are perfect. The thing is, we now have a system that we can continue to work on and develop together. And I think that's one of the most exciting things, and that has also shown at the senior level with the men and with the women now.
No, true. There's a system. Well, and I'm experiencing a little bit. There's what I can see, at least in the Netherlands, is that there's always a bit of a disparity between the union and the clubs. Well, you're here today with Eemland. We put a lot of time and effort in also the medical and also how we do things. And that's very structured approach. That is something that is developed over the years. I think we have that luxury because you're a club. You can do that longer term. And this is a personal observation. What I see at Rugby Netherlands is that it's sometimes it seems to be slightly short-termed more than extensive for a longer term. Like Christophe was, I don't know, he was here for 3 years.
Yes.
Now he's gone. Now you're here. I'm not nailing you down saying you need to stay here for at least 10 years, but that is something that probably could work. I don't know, but that is something that maybe works here more than
I think you're right, and I think the way I look at this is an endemic issue of our sport, because how unions work. At the end of the day, my job is to service the clubs. Even if there is a board in the union, my job is to make sure that our members, the clubs, are serviced. They may not be happy with some of the things that we give them, or they may be happy, but if the clubs are not happy with the job that we do, then I have to go. Or the board has to go, and then my job becomes redundant. So that long-term continuity has a lot to do with the way we're governing the sport, not just with the people that we are hired to deliver against the job. And I think one of the biggest questions that every federation or union in this case has to ask itself is, what do you want? That's not for me to tell you what you guys should be doing. You are the clubs. You need to come together. You need to decide based on information that we can provide, board members and staff. Like, look, we would love to go here. These are the pros. These are the cons. We think we can do this. Now, would you like to go together with us there, understanding the consequences or not? If not, then is when your leadership and your staff needs to rethink their commitments or not. Or maybe you want to go somewhere else. We agree, and that's our job for the next 10 to 15 years. But that question about where do we want to go together as Rugby Netherlands is a key question for us, clubs, boards, staff to answer together.
That's where everything stops or passes the buck. True. Looking geographically at your career, you're slowly going closer towards Spain. Poland is a little bit higher up, Netherlands. And I would think that if you go slightly more down, you're close to Spain. What is the long-term ambition? Is it that you want to play the same role in Spain or
to be honest,
something else?
No, I mean, Spain has really competent people. I never worked in Spanish rugby.
Really? Okay.
Never. I played. And
okay.
I was really happy, and I got this passion for this sport in my club in Madrid, Canoe, which doesn't exist anymore. I was blessed that I had wonderful people around me that passed me this virus that is still inside of me. Yeah. But I never worked for Spanish rugby. I started my career working in Norway.
Norway?
So I went Norway, then so it was a
Norway, Poland.
Correct. So I started in Norway, and then I was headhunted by World Rugby to manage getting to rugby back in the day, and then my career developed until I ended up in Poland, so on. So I don't have any ambition to work for a particular union. I love what I do. I love to work for different unions. I'm really happy that now I'm in Netherlands, and I would like to settle as much as I can. Of course, depends on the long
Were you going to live in Amsterdam?
I live close to Amsterdam. I mean, the union was very helpful in helping me to secure a location.
Let me guess, are you in Haarlem?
No. I live in Bussum, actually.
Bussum?
In a little apartment in the south of Bussum, close to the hay there. So my dog is really happy that I can go for runs around there. So no, my goal at the moment, and that family goal is we want to stay here. We love this place a lot. We really like to be here, and there is a lot of work to do for Rugby Netherlands. Yeah. And my wish is that I can stay long enough to actually make a proper impact long term. Happen.
Well, I know Friso a little bit, so he's the current chairman. I need to nail him down for this one too at some point. So yeah, you got your work cut out. When you set yourself like, okay, now I've got my honeymoon period is over, like Gareth here with the club. What is your timeline?
I give myself 3 months to get a good grip on things, and after 3 months, we need to start reorganizing things as much as we can and at the speed that we can do it. Our big target was to get Delta going. There is a very interesting model that we're following this year that we need to explain properly to all our members because they need to understand that we have a very exciting thing with 5 clubs involved in supporting this program and this team, and we are blessed that Eemland is one of them. We have Haarlem, we have The Hoy, we have also Dukes and Hague. The Hague, yeah? 5 clubs. Yeah. Sorry for that, I was just trying to remember things. No, but those 5 clubs, and I've made with the chairman, we have a good alignment so far. We try to make that team, we have this catchphrase which is the last stop before the top. So we want to get the best players that we have in the Netherlands, playing domestically, with the real potential to be in the national team. Even some of them who are already in the national team, but we want to give them additional high-level exposure. And we want to challenge our boys. We want to challenge our clubs to say, look, let's see the best of what we've got. How does compare with these other teams? And develop those guys in that team to a more professional setup. So that was the first target to get that going, which we achieved. And we play the first home game on the 18th of October. And I hope that we can see a big crowd supporting the team.
That's in the National Stadium.
Correct. That's going to be in the RCA. The week before, we're going to play away against Romania. And the week after, we play away against Lusitanos, but we play home against Iberians. Okay. So it's a good starting game for me with my compatriots. So yeah, that was the first goal. And then we are now starting the process to identify a new head coach for the national team.
Yeah, we still have it. Yeah, okay.
So there is a job description already being drafted, and we hope to put it up as soon as possible. And I've done already some sit-outs and meets with the different coaches of the national teams to review how is it working, what can we improve. So it's still on that, but then I hope by the end of October, mid-November, we can begin to restructure some things.
Nice. Jose, it looks like you've got serious work on your plate, which I knew up front. Thank you very much for taking the time, and we're obviously going to talk in the future at some point again. And I hope your honeymoon and everything that goes with it works well. And wish you all the best.
Dankjewel. Succes.
Alsjeblieft.
Dank je.